Hi, everybody. Welcome to the December meeting of the Inventors Roundtable. And we have a guest speaker tonight, Biljana Abel, and she is a social media expert, and we are going to pick her brain tonight. So, Biljana, introduce yourself. We are so grateful to have you because this question comes up all the time. And, you know, I've learned over the years there's certain things you do and certain things you don't do. And it's really nice to have somebody else here to say so I can learn some more. So introduce yourself, and then we're going to ask you some questions.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I'm really excited to be here and to talk to you all and with you as well. So my name is Biljana Abel. I'm owner of Equus Branding. It's a digital marketing and brand consultancy. And also I'm the owner of Gallup Digital, which is a digital marketing and IT related services company. Which is also international. Just a little background about me. I came to US when I was in my teens as a refugee from Bosnia and Herzegovina after living in Germany and Croatia. And I've been here since 1999, went to college, studied design and marketing, and then went on to work in different roles in marketing and the creative business, including in LA and here in Cleveland, Ohio, where I'm currently speaking to you from. So marketing is something actually what got me really interested in communication business in general. I was always fascinated what communication can do for brands and for businesses, and how it helps sell products and services. So I always wanted to look at it from a creative perspective because I was always inspired how art and design make products sell. So that's my branding side of the business. And then as we were progressing over the years and digital and social media became a must have and must do for clients, I got involved in that. And so now that's where we now get to offer our clients first the brand side of things when they're looking to brand or rebrand their services and products. And then when they're looking to actually market it and build websites, whether it's e-commerce, and also promote themselves on different social media channels. So I think that's from the perspective of introduction. I don't know if I should just kind of continue on, Rita, or do you have any questions you may want to ask me before we kind of start?
Let me ask you some questions, or at least help someone in the conversation. Years ago, advertising was, radio, TV, a magazine, maybe a local newspaper. All right. Those are pretty much obsolete. Still a lot of TV advertising out there, but nobody can afford it. Apple paid a lot of money to teach you that an apple is something that you play with instead of something that you eat. And most of our inventors don't have millions of dollars to do that kind of education. So we've got to be very skillful with our words because, I always say, what would someone Google to find you? And, if you've got a really weird name and a tagline that makes sense, then you've covered it. If you've just got the odd duck name that no one even knows, and I think you were on the radio with us when I had a couple of inventors. It's like, okay, starting over because I've got the odd duck name that does not make any sense. And so that certainly helps a lot. But, social media now has changed the game. And it allows inventors who don't have a lot of money more options. So, it used to be you had to put an address on something, and now you need to put an email address or a website on something. They don't think you're real if you don't have a website, or at least some video to prove the concept. But websites are better these. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be real big, doesn't have to be real long, but man, you'd better have something that you're out there in the digital age. So that part has changed as well. Some inventors are rather artistic and do some of it themselves. But when we're looking at then the difference between what I'm getting to is the brand that you create and your website is different than the story you tell, which is the social media, versus the e-commerce that you do, which is then selling the product. What does an inventor need to focus on and go through the steps to at least get going so that they can build later?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the beauty of social media. It's a free tool that all of us can use to show our authentic self and tell our story about our product and service. I think at the beginning of our journey as inventors or as business owners starting a business, we actually have that excitement that's happening around starting a business. So we get to tell that story as well. And social media is actually a great way to do that. Um, Sometimes companies, before they even build some expensive websites to sell and e-commerce, they actually start with social media to just get out there and in front of people and start gaining followers, right? So there will be a moment when you will start actually noticing that people are noticing you and they're actually listening to what you have to say and the product you're trying to put out there. So like I said, the beauty of it is you're just starting out, you're excited, and you can not only, you don't have to only talk about the product, but you can talk about your journey as an inventor, as a business owner, and then start slowly evolving the story into the product or service that you're trying to sell. And people will be listening because people want to know more about a brand than, okay, this is what it's for. They want to know who is the person behind it. We all get inspired by stories. And if we can tell our story a little bit about who we are as, citizens, as humans, as, what interests we have, and also including that component of our brand, it's going to be more fulfilling when we want to connect and engage. So that authenticity, nobody can take it away from you. So even if you hire a company, an agency like mine, to help you, we still have to get to know you. We have to still get to learn your product and service. And before we can go out there and promote you and share about you and present you. But you have the beauty of it, it's you actually are the first one who has that honor and that luxury to tell the story. And even sometimes it gets, maybe some of us are a little shy to be in front of audiences, but that's why we can use text for the beginning and maybe some stock imagery, stock photos, something that would represent what we are writing about. And that's what people want to hear today. Algorithms, and if you look at social media nowadays, it's becoming very hard because there are it's a lot of noise out there. Companies, big brands are paying a lot of money to be on social media, to have space there. And then the organic search, people who are trying to organically show up don't have as much chance. But if you follow that authenticity of who you are and what you're trying to do and how you're trying to resolve an issue and how you came up with the idea for your product, you're actually going to start gaining followers because of that authenticity. And I hope that makes sense. So we don't need to worry about the money at the beginning. We just have to prove that we have passion and that we are providing a service or product that's going to solve a problem.
Well, I think Jeff's got a really cool product, and some of the videos. So you can do a YouTube short or a TikTok short and go out and post it as a product that helps during the snowstorm. Hillary's got a fashion product that helps people hold their hair up, and some of those then certainly do help to get in the right groups. Getting out to the right fashion versus pet product versus the tool around the house for moving snow and stuff around. It starts to tell your story, and
exactly.
It's authentic because you're doing it. And so you get somebody else to hold the camera, and some of those can be more valuable than the professional sales pitch that somebody pays thousands of dollars to do, because you're right, and people, they want to be inspired by the person that invented the product, and they want to know you, they want to feel you, they want to feel like they know who it is. So it's like, all right, well, today's not a good day, but Jeff, I'm really not sure you'd be wearing your best khakis when you're out there shoveling snow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And those stories are actually what, like you said, would inspire people. We don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars when we're just starting out. Um, we, it's enough that we show up, right? That's enough. We are enough for that. Now, when things are starting to get a little bit more serious and we start seeing that things are moving along and that we are getting the recognition, we're making few sales, or have interested investors maybe who want to join in and be part of our journey. So that's when we can invest money in but because a lot of times we want to test it, we want to test and see before we all in. um, Now there is a point when, like I said, things will get serious where we will have to put some money to start building this e-commerce component if we're selling product. And that can be done also through social media. A lot of actually sales nowadays are being done through through online, like Facebook, like TikTok, or used to be Twitter, now it's X, Instagram. So we can find our way through those channels and then start developing other components. Of course, I always believe if you have the budget, if you have money to brand and to do things from the beginning properly, of course, I mean, I'm all for it. But if you're trying to do it on a shoestring budget, then you can maneuver a little bit around not spending as much money, but more so producing content yourself. Videos, of course, people love to see organic videos. They love to see you struggling with something or trying to fix something or trying to come up with something, versus here's a high production, thousands and thousands of dollars of a video, but more so short and sweet messages. Yeah.
It's almost like people don't believe the professional commercials anymore because they're too polished. So people don't really believe it anymore. And so when you get the your own video out there, the TikTok short out there, or YouTube or something on LinkedIn, it's more personal. It's more real.
Yes.
And, a lot of times that is, especially in the beginning, if you end up licensing your product, they're going to take over. They're going to do, the marketing and selling for you. But, e-commerce has changed things for inventors as well, because it used to be if you couldn't get a store to carry you, you weren't going to sell any. And that wasn't all that long ago. 20 years ago, things were very different. And then, Amazon started and then, you could start putting things out there. I know we had products when we were in the Denver area that were selling on Amazon, 15, 20 years ago. And for them, that started making a huge difference. But now even, Home Depot has an e-commerce store. And if you can get accepted, there, and we've got people that specialize in e-commerce at those big box stores, whole different realm of selling
Walmart, Amazon, Home Depot. Absolutely. I mean, you can find a spot on there as well. They have infrastructure built already, so there's definitely option to work with some big brands and place your product with them as well. I mean, but that also you have to do some lab work before they even take you in or take you on, because they want to see how you've been doing out there already, and what your story that's behind it. I mean, and then also people who are purchasing from you already, or who have seen or felt your product, experienced it, ask them for reviews, ask them to help you get the word out, because consumers are, there's a statistic, 88% of consumers are more likely to trust business that has reviews on social media. That's basically word of mouth. Yeah.
I don't buy anything now unless I go look at the reviews, because I've learned the hard way. It's like, well, what a piece of junk. Oh, if you'd read the reviews, you'd have known it was a piece of junk. So yes, I've learned to
go exactly. I mean, yeah. Well, it can go both ways, right? Depends, if somebody is leaving bad review, but that's an opportunity also. I always say whatever bad review is out there is also an opportunity for you to respond and not actually sit silently and just let other people contribute to it. but you actually can have the opportunity to step in and say, well, we messed up, or it's true, we were able to fix the problem, we were able to replace the product, or we're now working on updating our product and so on. So there are so many opportunities actually for you to jump into that conversation directly with the consumer.
Well, on a consumer note, I would like to, strangle anybody that says they've got a squirrel-proof bird feeder, because there is no such thing. Having got, 4 of them out there and there's squirrels on them every single day, I know there's no such thing. So I think of the group here, Hillary has probably done the most marketing because she's got inventory to sell. But we're going to open it up now so that you guys can ask questions and get some feedback from Biljana, so that your next steps when you do get ready. So, shoot away, guys, if you've got questions. Hillary, why don't you start and share with us some of the things that you have done, what worked and what didn't.
Well, basically, I think that I would have never gotten off the ground without Kathy Ireland. I had to get the celebrity back before I got a hold of my influencers, and it was hard. It was just reaching out all the time, trying to figure out if somebody wanted to try my product, and stuff. And you would be surprised. You'd think I was like, trying to, share a dog tutu with people. I mean, nobody wanted it. It's like, I guess hair products have been so traumatic for other people, and I understand. I've tried, those things that my hair got caught in and everything, and I'm like, no more. But it was so bad, because there's such a bad rap about what's gone on in the hair industry, and that's why I figured I really got to try and get my product out, because people's hair has been tearing up. That's why a lot of people just hack their hair off, because they can't keep it tangle free. Now I got my one influencer, and it's a little hard reaching out. People are getting a little tired of doing videos for products. There's a lot of pushback against all the TikTok ads and stuff. And then, it's like every time you get somewhere, there's a roadblock, oh, we're going to ban TikTok, or now we got a strike on Canadian post office. And so it's like, I got customers up there that want my product. And now, I'm looking around for shipping options. It's like, you're always kind of like battling these like roadblocks. You start getting some momentum this way, here's a roadblock. Get some momentum that way, here's a roadblock. It's a little frustrating. I mean, market penetration is really it's really tough. It's, but I'm getting there. I mean, I get a couple of orders a day. It's, you really have to just kind of brainstorm it. And sometimes you just get like all dried up. You need a rest for a while, because, the technology is hard too. I mean, like, you see what I went through with this video. I mean, that's tech is tech. It's like, it'll drive you crazy. And that's minor compared to trying to, get into Facebook Business Manager and all these other little things, and not have them rob you blind, or broadcast your private information all over the place, So it's really tough. I mean, and then they act like, oh, if you don't share your private information, well, you must be a scam. It's like, oh, come on. It's really crazy. I mean, but I do like the influencers for marketing. That's been my biggest, and then you just got to keep getting on this, getting on that, and try to get relevant information that will draw eyes to your product. It has to be a similar like scenario. Sometimes you have to get controversial to get some people's eyes on you, just do stuff that, you wouldn't think.
I think what you're getting at is that things have always got to be in motion.
Yeah, you always got to try to reach people emotionally and reach out to them and try to be ever present in the media. And it's still tough. I mean, I get a lot more, why don't you join this and join that for a couple of $1,000 a year, or this membership for a couple of $1,000 a year. And you get a lot more of that than you get help.
Yeah. Well,
What is your product?
It's in my hair. It's a bun making product. It looks like this, and it buttons up. I got a package back here. Let me get it for you.
So I think the big deal is, your message has always got to be is an evolution. Where you're doing it changes as well, because people get, everybody that watches one channel or podcast, they've seen it. Now you got to move on. So everything is always an evolution as far as the story you tell, how you tell it, what you're using, the platform you're using, and it. As soon as you think, oh, we've got it right, then you got to change because it goes away.
Yeah, and exactly, and but you always have to think, who is your customer, who is it that you are trying to sell to, and that's how you pick at least one platform, maybe two, because if you start working on all of them at the same time on your own, it may be a little bit overwhelming.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
So it's just rolls up, and it has a latch that you can replace the elastic if you wanted to. Like if that got worn out, that would be the only thing you'd have to replace. And you can also tighten it up. You can fill it in with like a scrunchie to make it tighter if your hair's kind of thin. And like I say, they got this size and that size.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then you can put like a bling over it. I think I got one.
And are you selling? Where exactly are you selling right now?
I'm using Wix right now,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody seems to like this one now. This is the new color scheme they like.
Okay.
Yeah. See, you can put like a ribbon in there and decorate it any way you want. You just tuck it into those little slots.
Yeah. Back to Diana's question, or where are you selling it, and how are you manufacturing it?
Well, I designed it. I used AutoCAD type program, and I made the design. I 3D printed it, and what I did is I bought my own 3D printer and printed a whole bunch of prototypes to get the right. I wanted it to roll up nice and round, but there's a lot of you would be surprised how technical it was to get that to.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, get the right resin or whatever you used to make it better.
Without it falling off the sides and not looking bulky in there. So I kind of came up with that design after, about, I think I did about 6 different versions of it. And then I kind of settled down on the ones that, were more adaptable, that could hold a big range of hair, from small to, a lot of hair. And they can even link together. You can put 2 together like this with an elastic and just weave it through. And then you wrap it around like a little slip knot, and it's a longer one.
So how are you doing with sales? Where are you selling? Did you build a site, or is it? You said Wix and then connected it to social media. Are you selling on social media at all? Do you have commerce on there, or it's just bringing people from social media to your page?
Yeah, I'm kind of interesting. I got the analysis, but it's really difficult to make heads or tails of that. It'll say most of my customers, I believe, is coming from YouTube, but I've had a couple of customers from Instagram reach out to me. Even though I got the store on Instagram and I got the store on Facebook, they want to go through the website, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to buy anything off of Facebook. It's there for the people that want the convenience. They don't want to go from here to there.
Yeah. Plus, the website represents your business, right? That's basically what you built, right?
Yeah.
Your business really. Facebook is still considered almost like third party, so is Instagram, right? And people want to know more about you, right? Once they come to the site.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I do think that, you know, it's like my YouTube channel seems to be the most prominent one. I don't really post much on Instagram and Facebook as much. I mean, I'll put a post on there once in a while. But yeah, my website is, you know, actual hands-on. It's mine, nobody else's third party. It's just my website. I did hire quite a few people to try to help me do it more professionally, and they didn't even finish it or even get it started, and then I end up paying for nothing. So a lot of people out there are claiming and even have websites and even look like they're, you know, I don't know how I find them all. There must be a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it's
they just know what they're doing.
next time my suggestion always is ask somebody who made a nice website, who did it for them, because then, and how the experience was.
You know, they don't share that information, you know, and a person has their stuff together, they're not really that willing to share their information for some reason. I don't know. I mean, I asked a few people that had a beautiful website who did it, and they didn't even want to reply or give me any feedback.
Yeah.
And
well, maybe somebody, you know, a store that you go to that's local, small businesses, or somebody that you can, you know, who would probably respond to you, but you can just say, I love your website. Would you recommend somebody? Of course, now you know me, so you know that's another source for you. But of course, if you have to feel comfortable, whoever is, you know, whoever you would feel comfortable with, and somebody recommended, somebody who has been vetted already, because I've heard also a lot of bad stories. Unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't make it good for my profession to have so many people who are taking on projects and not completing or not helping the client really have results, but it happens, unfortunately.
oh yeah, everybody seems to think that they can like tweak their resume or or tweak the, I mean, they're very good at marketing themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's different to build a website for business that actually is serious, that's selling, and it's different to just build a website that's some sort of portfolio site. It's a big difference. So yeah, but like I said, I would always start with people who I maybe would frequently see or have small business. I would definitely ask for a referral for any kind of project, design, website, social media. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I love that you're using YouTube. Actually, they're even saying that YouTube will surpass TikTok, that people are slowly dropping off because of that issue with regulations that TikTok maybe shut down. Maybe we're still waiting for the court decision. So
Yeah, it's kind of a tough call. And then with the big, you know, CV deal back in the 2021 and all that, it's like traveling got to be so iffy, you know, because everybody wants to quarantine people and, you know, and all that, and I don't want to get stuck in that. And I'm like, ugh.
They don't do that much of that anymore.
Yeah,
so
thank God. I'm so happy. I travel quite a bit also overseas. So it's almost like COVID didn't even exist almost.
Yeah, I know. It shouldn't have. I mean, the whole thing was just such a cluster F. I hate to say that, but you know, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was just.
It certainly was. I'm glad that I think we learned a lot from that, and hopefully we'll go back to that. Jeff, do you have any questions on you know, marketing, branding, anything like that? You or Andrea? I mean, you're just getting started, but
yeah, I'm just getting started. I haven't. Yeah, I'm supposed to get my prototype, my next prototype here. Noah sent me an email here a little while ago. He's going to ship it tomorrow, so that'd be a good thing to do. so we'll see how that turns out. And but I really haven't thought of marketing. I did build a website early on, and I've just kind of kept it in maintenance mode while we've been waiting to improve things to make it more production ready. So that's
And Jeff, can you say a little more about your product? What is your product?
Yeah, sure. It's a essentially a pusher, mostly for snow. So basically, it's 4 inches or 4 feet wide. Excuse me. It has a handle on it, and it was designed to be. I'll hold my hands up here like this. It's kind of like it has leading edges in like that, and it has kind of a rubber piece on the bottom, so it slips over expansion joints and irregularities in the surface that you're pushing for snow over. That's what I started it for, but it turns out it works pretty good on decks, and you can push things out of dirt, out of pickups and stuff like that. It doesn't scratch composite decks or these fancy painted concrete floors. They have the epoxy or they have the paint on the floor. Won't scratch that because it's rubber. It just slides right over it, and it tracks real well the places where the rubber might or the concrete might be a little bit irregular, like dips in it or knots in it, where there was an extra lump in it, and goes right over it instead of impaling you like a snow shovel would. Because if you're pushing a snow shovel and you hit a expansion joint, it stops and you run into it, with your body or your shoulder or whatever you're pushing it with. So, and it kind of gives. So it's a polycarbonate blade. So the blade is designed to flex. So if you think about it, it kind of flexes in a couple different dimensions while you have a load on it. So then you can push water out of your garage like a normal squeegee. Only you can push water with snow and dirt in it and mud and all that. So it works really well. But we're trying to get it to the point where you can produce it cheap enough to make it, productive as far as the economics of it. So.
Yeah, now just, when you were talking about snow and shoveling, I'm thinking, wow, I'm in Ohio, so we were just hit last week with a lot of snow here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how amazing would it be if you people actually had that that shovel, right? They could maybe even if it's in a prototype stage, just to record few videos, how it works, how amazing, and what a great material you would have to put up on social media.
Well, you can see the garage prototype out on squeegit.com, and that's SKWEEGIT.com.
We've got the link on our website.
Okay,
yeah.
So great.
I'll push it out there, and then the other thing that's done that we picked up in the prototype, the advanced prototype stage, is I had it set up so you could, with some thumb screws, you could pull it apart and flip the blade around. So imagine the blade is like this if you're looking down on it. So you can pull or you can push, and it collects snow inside the leading edges. So you could flip it around and actually pull. So what's great for that is like on stairs. If you're going downstairs and there's snow on the stairs, typically you're trying to stand up above on the stair above and sweep things off below it. And all you do is basically, grab a hold of it and just walk down and just pull it right down, and it goes all the way down the stairs. Or if you're up against an immovable surface like a garage door or a wall and you're trying to move the snow out away from it, you can just pull it away. And it's tough to do that with a shovel. You end up shoveling into whatever the block is, and maybe denting your garage door or knocking stucco off your wall or whatever. So that's
that's wonderful. And have you introduced the product anywhere on social media? You said your website is not up and running, so you're just...
Well, it's there. It's there. I haven't been updating it, and it's basically saying right now, wait, new version to come type of thing, So I've kept it in place. But I didn't finish my story, but what we did in the prototype stage is we took that handle and we put it's like a clasp on it. So you squeeze up on the clasp and the handle will move 30 degrees either this way. So now you don't have to take it apart. You basically can move the handle and now the handle is following the leading edges, or you flip it back the other way and it's going away from the leading edges. So that's where you push it versus pull it. So it's really slick. Noah Neely kind of came up with that. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, we've got another gentleman with a shovel who's going to be at ASD Market Week as well. Very, very cool shovel, and nothing like yours at all.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be a good draw for the two of them. I was amazed when I saw it. And it's nice to have then two products that are basically in the same category, but are very different.
Yeah, right.
So his is just the basic shovel, but when you hit the button, it turns into a hoe. It folds down and turns into a hoe then.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's kind of like the push and pull on mine, because a hoe is a pull and a shovel is a push, right? You know?
Yep. So very cool. So he's going along with that. And funny thing is, he's got another product that's just like one of the other guys that's going to be there that's got that kind of product, and they're totally different from each other, but they'll work together.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So let me ask you, when you guys think about social media, what is there, so, things that are going well and things that are not going well, or how, if you look at maybe your knowledge of social media, using it in business sense, where do you see your skills and abilities? Where do you think you can actually do it, or do you feel like you actually have a budget available to bring on somebody to help you? Or do you think you can actually tell the story, do it yourself for the beginning stages?
Okay, that is a loaded question because I've had lots of bad experience. And just got done, letting go of the gentleman that I thought had done a really good job, found out that he was really not doing a good job. And I, at a certain point, knew more than he did. And, but I've learned a lot. And, the difference between a TikTok short and the, video for YouTube, and then there's a YouTube short. And we've got 22 platforms we're podcasting on. So I have learned a lot for an old fart. And, then there's a whole different, mentality with the LinkedIn versus the Facebook. And, then the websites are just a landing spot, to prove that you really exist. You have to learn how to use social media for your particular instance. We certainly have. And, I would always say, well, I'll do this. So I'll do LinkedIn tomorrow. I'll do LinkedIn tomorrow. I'll do LinkedIn tomorrow. Nope. I've had to learn that you will do LinkedIn tomorrow, or your business isn't going to go anywhere. And it has become a very valuable tool. But then there's other tools that become more obsolete as you go. So we always have to learn to be flexible. We have to pay attention to what's coming down the pike for us, because we don't have a product, we have a service and the radio and everything. So ours is a little bit different than, we're not doing any e-commerce. We are just doing, podcasts and getting the word out there. So very different in that regard, but very similar in the fact that we've got to constantly be changing and paying attention to what's coming and, what's hot, what's not, and be flexible. Even as old farts, you don't get to, play dead. You got to pay attention.
Yeah. And to your point, just when it comes to being consistent, it always is very helpful to produce some sort of calendar and at least have a topic. Just write down a topic, what you can talk about. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but at least it gives you something to think, to look forward and say, okay, next week I'm going to be talking about X, Y, and Z. I don't know if I'm in the hair product, different ways to, of course, use my product, but I can also talk generally about issues that, come up in hair, with hair, with the industry, with care for hair and stuff like that. So, but if you have it lined up and if you come up with different topics, and then if something organically comes up, something in the news, for example, that may be a controversial thing, or maybe something really positive that's happening, then you can also organically post that. But at least when you have a calendar, and what Rita is doing, obviously, as a service provider, somebody who thrives off content, she knows what I'm talking about. She needs to have content, without content, her business is not functioning, right? It's not sustainable. So, but even for us who are, or some of other businesses who are doing products, still you have to prepare yourself, always be prepared with content, because then that way it's going to make this whole life in social media world easier. If you have a calendar prepared.
I think some of it too is, so Hillary, for instance, you have one person that you go to that's a little bit, different, longer hair, curly hair, shorter hair, whatever, black, white, purple, tall, short, old, young, male, female, whatever. And, you can do different, short videos with that one person instead of trying to combine a whole bunch of them into the videos or a lot of variety. You're spreading it out. So, you visit with the person, you let them show off a little bit and, thank them very much. And then you've got 20 videos that you can do with 20 different people and backgrounds and professions and all that kind of stuff. And Jeff, you just, talked about a whole different bunch of ways of using your shovel. Each one gets to be a video. Hot, cold, whatever they're doing in Florida versus what they're doing in Washington, and, get it out there and talk about, difference on using it on a deck, on a, different types of weather. Each one is its own little video, and that gives you greater content.
Yeah, It can be also something inspiring. It can be just something about facts, for example. I love using facts about snow, generally, about ice, about road conditions, about it's connected to your product more. It's if from the perspective of looking at a broader picture, right? And not only just at a shovel, but all kinds of different things that are connected to nature, something that's inspiring. It can be even a quote of a day. It doesn't even have to be necessarily related to snow, but it could be something where you can even say, play off, use humor, where something is maybe funny that will make people laugh, and they'll want to share it because they'll say, oh, look what I found on this website, how, something funny, or a funny quote with a picture that you found on a stock image platform, and you put your quote on it. People may share that, and you can always stick your logo somewhere there, and then that becomes, recognizable, and so on. So those are just, a few ways of doing it. It takes time, but it's okay. While we're doing this preparation, all of that, is actually something that will help us prepare us for the bigger steps.
Yeah, and you can even get Noah to do some. He lives in Georgia. You're in Colorado, and they get snow in Georgia. Amazing.
Looks like you have snow back there.
Well, yeah, this was last year.
Okay.
But, because 2 weeks ago we did have this much snow out there, and the dogs had a really good time. And that's when I talked to you about being able to shovel the deck.
Do your deck,
2 inches on the deck, and I don't want to rip up the deck by using an old-fashioned snow shovel. But I used to live in Georgia too, so I know that you do get a little bit of snow there, enough for him to get out there with that snow shovel and show off a little bit. It's a little bit tougher for you to ship it to me, so I can happen to have it on that one night that it snows on the deck. Yeah.
And also what would be interesting, maybe a snow. Removal services, landscapers.
I'm thinking like car lots, because
yes.
they can't get those ATVs in between those cars.
Yes.
They're all outside, and this thing, if you bump the car, it bends, so it doesn't scratch. So it's it hits a movable object and it flexes. So that would be an ideal situation to go between those cars and not worry about damaging them. So.
Yeah, that's ideal for cross promotion, for example, right?
Yeah.
There's an inventor in Denver that installed the LED lights in a lot of the parking lots for the autos. Ian Osborne, and so he knows those guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Also have some contacts at the football stadium the big football stadium there. I think he did the lights in the runways down there underneath the stadium, but I know that Lindsay did a bunch of the soldering work down there. She had a private job with them for several months. So definitely have some contacts for you to be able to get in there and do some of those videos and say, here we are. We are, you know,
do a Colorado tour.
there you go. There you go.
Oh,
So, you know, yeah, you know, put some spin on it and, you know, get it out there and you guys can have some fun with it. And that way, then you're just using your camera. It can be easy, inexpensive, and, you know, you're just talking to the folks out there who might want that product.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking underneath the ski lifts because, you know, when you are sitting down under the chair as you take off from the ski lift, you know, the guys are always pushing snow around underneath that. And typically they're doing it with a shovel. You know, they could just take a couple swaths and they'd be good, you know, so.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, and, you know, I get my inspiration from you guys when you're talking and I'm like, oh, there we go. There's a radio show. And you know, get you on video and podcasting and everything. So I appreciate, you know, all the inspiration you guys give me because I have got a new show every week that I have to do. And you know,
yeah. But I have to say, Rita, you are really wonderful. I think the way you go about trying to help small businesses, inventors, just at least get their name out there and get them to be visible. It's really amazing, and I wish there were a lot more opportunities for inventors like that because I feel like it would make their life much easier. So kudos to you and your team for pushing so hard.
And if you've got any of your, you know, clients that are ready to go to that show, we are trying to fill all the spots.
You know what I'm thinking? Maybe this time around, but I'm gonna be actually traveling to Europe, so it may be a little bit tough this year. But I'm actually really thinking how nice it would be to talk to some of the people in Europe that I know also produce and make things and come up with stuff to help them through you to come to Vegas and be part of the show. So it can be, you know, I know this is really, you know, an American built product, but, you know, we can also help smaller inventors from Europe, let's say, get introduced to US market as well, and vice versa. I always say, the one thing I love about my business is that I get to work with American clients and European clients and see how we can connect best of both worlds and how we can bring, you know, products here. My husband does a lot of trade. And how we can take US products to Europe as well. So yeah, so anyway, I think it's really wonderful opportunity, and I'll definitely, you and I will talk more about what we can do to introduce you to European market as well. So
excellent. So all right, everybody, it is 9 o'clock here Eastern time. So I am going to say good night and Merry Christmas to all of you. If you have any questions, give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever. Biljana, send me your logo so we can get that loaded and everybody can find you easily. All right.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
All right, guys. Yeah. Have a great evening. Talk to you later.
We appreciate your presentation, and it's recorded, so it will be posted. I've got folks asking for it already. Thanks, guys.
Wonderful. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right. Bye-bye.